Story 1. I will just leave this quote from Carl Sagan's The Demon-Haunted World, published in 1996. I have a foreboding of an America in my children's or grandchildren's time, when the United States is a service and information economy, when nearly all the manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries, when awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, and no one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues, when the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or knowledgeably question those in authority, when, clutching our crystals and nervously consulting our horoscopes, our critical faculties in decline, unable to distinguish between what feels good and what's true, we slide, almost without noticing, back into superstition and darkness. Story 2. I think what feels worse this time around is that there's a general sense of inescapable doom. Last time there was this sort of hope of a fight, the promise that he wasn't popularly elected, and the general sense that the election had some question marks around it. This time he truly feels like he won the mandate of the country and the incoming disaster is what people wanted, and now the powers that be have become incredibly complicit with it, including the so-called opposition party. Story 3. Feeling like I'm watching a generation of people that didn't learn from history, enabling politicians and oligarchs to repeat it. How am I feeling? As Cradgett said, grim. Story 4. Pretty much fine. I do not like Trump at all, but ever since I unplugged from Instagram and constant news, things have felt a lot less intense. I am pretty engaged in my local politics and intentionally live in a very progressive area. I try to ask myself now, is this energy helping someone, myself included? And most of the time the answer is a resounding no. Story 5. Grim, man. Trying to make it into a Tolkien character kind of grim, though. A lot of living and a lot of work to be done over a big chunk of time, and all you can do is your best. Story 6. Like someone knocked at the door and said, I am here to take everything. And we were like, great, come in. I will show you around. Just do not take anything. Story 7. Honestly, it's been a lot. Between the constant news cycles, political drama, and just trying to navigate day-to-day life, it feels like everything is up in the air. Some days are better than others, but a lot of us are just trying to stay grounded and keep moving forward. Story 8. I feel that regardless of what happens, there is nothing I can do. Go out and vote. We, the people, have the power. It's a great sentiment, but effectively the same as every polluting company's alleged solution to global warming and pollution. Nothing a single person does is going to change anything unless it's starting a revolution. If what I think will happen comes to pass, I'll at least get to tell my family members who voted for our new king, I told you so, before I end it all. My parents, who never made enough for Social Security to do much of anything and now rely on food stamps, government housing, and supplemental security income, somehow think the millionaires and billionaires will help them when they live off of government handouts and are barely scraping by. Story 9. Angrier and sadder than ever before. But not defeated. I refuse to be defeated. My ancestors were forced from their homes for generations by people like these. I am sure there were those who fought. I will be one of those. Story 10. I've occasionally heard the phrase, think about how stupid the average person is, then realize half of them are dumber than that. But I always took it as a comedy phrase. This election showed that it is not. It is reality. The majority of people legitimately have an IQ lower than room temperature and are dumber than a sack of hammers. This is not an insult. I do not mean to offend. I am merely stating facts. Facts that were proven when the majority of people didn't vote or voted for a racist, convicted rapist, fraudster, Christofascist dictator that openly and proudly admires Hitler, Kim Jong-un, and Putin and wants to revoke all rights from immigrants, children of immigrants, and all LGBTQ people. Story 11. Wake up. Feel inescapable doom. Work. Repeat. Still no sign of healthcare. Still no sign of affordable housing. Still no sign of affordable childcare. Still no sign of non-guilty sick leave. Still no sign of higher wages. Story 12. Not good, Jim. Not good. We have an administration using blatant propaganda through TikTok, a group of billionaires trying to avoid jail time and line their pockets, another billionaire making concerning gestures and admitting to rigging the election, a cabinet full of people who don't know their jobs, and a president who speaks out of both sides of his mouth. Meanwhile, our people are choosing to die rather than face astronomical prices to stay alive. A healthcare insurance system that runs on artificial intelligence without a doctor's oversight or anyone with a medical degree, rampant homelessness and hunger, people unable to afford groceries, and unaffordable rent with mortgages that are still astronomical even though they would be cheaper than rent if not for investment property purchases. A court system exists where, if you are rich enough, you're automatically innocent. No one is doing anything about it, including me, because we are lazy, we don't want to go to jail, we only care about our immediate family or ourselves, we think someone else will do something, or all of the above. There are probably more reasons, but those are the basic ones I can think of. Story 13. Australian with a green card. I'm pretty stoic most of the time, but I saw the clip of Elon Musk and heard the cheers. I see the people defending it for 80 years. That gesture has had one meaning and one meaning only, and whatever your pea-brain is using to excuse it is not that meaning, and my stomach hurts. This is not the country I moved to with so much hope for the future, and it's not a place I want to be. I'm lucky that I have money and mobility to leave. Plenty won't. So many people are going to be hurt by the incoming administration that I can't even wrap my head around it. Story 14. I'm upset. I'm a mother to 4. I've got 1 boy and 3 girls. I am frustrated that this is their future. When and if the fascists in control now leave office, my kids will be 20, 18, 14, and 11. They are growing up in unprecedented times. This country is not good enough for them. Story 15. Literally sick to my stomach. The news coming out of Washington, D.C. just gets worse by the minute. Trump pulling out of the World Health Organization and pardoning everyone who attempted to overthrow the government is utterly, truly despicable. And I know it's going to get worse. Story 16. Like it's 1933 in Germany. There is nothing to stop these people from destroying the fabric of our democracy. The whole world should be scared of the consequences. Story 17. Honestly, I don't know how to feel. Except the things we cannot change for now. I just hope it's not as bad as the media is predicting, but I am not optimistic. Scary times. Story 18. I still feel deceived by the popular vote. I also worry about my young son's future and if life is going to become very hard with fewer things to feel good about due to how expensive everything is. Story 19. When fascism comes to America, it will be wrapped in a flag and carrying the cross. Except I naively expected more critical thinking from my fellow devoutly Christian citizens to actually go for somebody who did not blatantly repudiate every single Christian value. Story 20. Not going to lie, I'm pretty upset. I knew him getting back in the big chair would be bad. But it's day 1 and I'm already over this. People just handed control of the government to billionaires and a criminal because of the cost of eggs and the fact that people have memories that don't go back more than 4 years at a time. Story 21. Everything has been falling apart since 2016. They are just not pretending to be moral anymore. I feel hopeless. I feel ashamed of my country. I am so embarrassed to be American, and I also feel so angry at all the incredibly stupid sycophants here. Story 22. The problem is that the richest oligarchs in the world are in control of the most powerful military power in the world. They are also far right in their political beliefs, and they hold all the cards. President Musk literally did a Sieg Heil. He is not even pretending anymore. He does not need to. Nobody can do a thing about it. They are now positioned to do whatever to whomever they want. Story 23. I am deeply concerned. How is it that nearly half the people around me hold such drastically different perspectives? How did society become so divided and seemingly self-centered? Story 24. I'm reverting to my natural state, sarcastic apathy. I tried talking sense to people. Forget it. I grew up poor, I can handle it. I'm just going to enjoy the people who are angry when they're let down. Leopards ate my face will sustain me. Story 25. I have just about nobody physically close to me in my life who feels the way I do about these issues. Every time I leave my house, I have to bite my tongue and walk on eggshells and pretend like I'm not losing respect for people close to me. I hate that this is happening. I hate that I'm experiencing this time in history. I hate that so many of my friends are so foolish. Story 26. Annoyed. He's such a useless leader. Last time he was elected, he had a Republican majority in the House and Senate at first, and all he accomplished were tax cuts. Everything else he did was via executive order. And even then, most of those were flops. Story 27. I'm really upset about it, honestly. Come to my house and try to punish me for exercising the freedom to call this orange piece of garbage a worthless piece of garbage. Story 28. Honestly, I am in fear for my life. I came to the United States on political asylum in the 1990s. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is already going business to business in Miami, where I live, to check papers. At any point, I feel like my asylum could be retroactively revoked, even though I am a full United States citizen. Sending me back almost assuredly will result in my death. So anyone who voted for Trump or didn't vote, I hope you're happy signing my, and many millions of hardworking Americans like me, death warrants. I hope your cheap eggs are worth it. Story 29. I just don't give a damn anymore. Voted for 25 years for nothing. To watch that person get elected again. I don't care about this country one bit anymore. If I could leave, I would. Story 30. Like I'm ready to unplug. We're one day in, and it's just an onslaught of the news and social media saying, Trump did a bad thing, followed by Trump did another bad thing, followed by Trump plans to do a bad thing, as if I can change it. And then there's, wow, I can't believe Americans wanted this, shameful, they should do better. By every European with an opinion when I did my best locally, and it is so infuriating. It feels like totaling your car in an accident. You get everyone out, and as you're trying to process events, some dude rolls by, window down, phone in hand, saying, hey, you can't park here. Story 31. Like crap. It's a rough reality to know you're surrounded by not only the dumbest part of the population, but also the evil ones who knew what this was from the beginning. It's the beginning of the end. He's not leaving office. He's going to claim some false flag nonsense about voter fraud in the regular election as an excuse to declare martial law in order to stay in power. We are doomed. The corruption is so deep it will probably crumble before it is repaired. And the worst part is, half of America is cheering for it. Truly too stupid to know they are stupid. Less than. Story 32. My best case scenario is he spends 4 years looting and robbing the American public for his own personal enrichment. This is literally the best outcome possible I can imagine from this guy. The bar is in hell. Story 33. I'm feeling fine. I had a home-cooked meal last night that I've only had 3 times over the last 35 years, and I had some leftovers this afternoon. Why is that important? Because it's what immediately impacts me. It's what I have control over. If 2016 taught me anything, it's that regardless of how badly I disagree with the direction our country takes, no amount of stress, worrying, or anger will change anything. I will make my voice heard via my vote, and after that, no longer pay attention until it's time to work on informing myself for my next vote. Life has become much more enjoyable since I stopped allowing the internet to guide me into a doom spiral. Story 34. Resigned. My countrymen and women wanted this situation, and they have forced it on us all. Now, I just have to be aware enough to anticipate the worst and prepare accordingly, while I only hope that the people who supported this get thoroughly impacted. The people who support this circus getting the worst outcome will be the only justice we'll see. America as we knew it is over. I'll be lucky to see it turn around in my lifetime, and by then we'll all be climate refugees. Story 35. As a transgender person, I am already having passive suicidal thoughts. I have been here before mentally countless times and have attempted. I will stay alive, but this feeling and the fear, panic, dread, and depression will not be leaving. People are celebrating. I will be fighting to try to survive. Dying means they win, so I will keep breathing, though. Story 36. Well, we managed to re-elect someone who is a traitor to our country. A serial liar, cruel, narcissistic, unintelligent, uneducated, and tries to fleece everyone he meets for whatever he can gain. Pretty disappointed. Last time around I was depressed because I thought it was a fluke, but this time around I've come to accept that our country is just full of morons. All around. I'd bet money that a large proportion of the people whose politics I agree with are just as dumb and uneducated as the ones I disagree with. But Trump, it's not even about politics, although I disagree with him on that too. He's just a despicable human being, and I don't understand the people who were like, eggs are expensive, I'll vote for the idiot. Story 37. Not great. I actually need to turn off the part of my brain that thinks about current events for the night. The Musk Nazi salute is just too much. Like I said to a friend earlier, I am a straight white guy and I am freaking out. I literally cannot imagine how minorities and lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people are feeling. Story 38. I take solace in the fact that all these incompetent people he's putting in his cabinet will be dropping like flies in no time. Donald Trump loves to flatter, uses you, and then turns on you. Plus, there is no way he can put together a cabinet with any skills needed to bring any of Donald Trump's crazy ideas to fruition. Story 39. The same I've been feeling since 2007 when I saw health insurance plans drastically change to being super expensive and of poor quality. Things just continued to go downhill since then. Story 40. I'm pretty smart and good at my job. I cook really well and I participate in my community. Are there any countries that would have me? I'm available.